I actually didn't realize that it had gone live. Anyway, here's another reading from the Science of Mind magazine daily guides. It's called Another Four-Letter Word, and my mouse is worthy of other expressions. Oh, wait. Hang on a second. My mouse is not cooperating, so bear with me. Here we are. Another four-letter word. The first quote is from Lama Surya Das, who is an American practitioner of Tibetan Buddhism, and he is a master in many fields. In Awakening the Buddha Within, he says, enlightenment is not about becoming divine. Instead, it's about becoming more fully human. It's the end of ignorance. And I tell you, my mouse is not cooperating today. Oh. And Ernest Holmes in The Science of Mind textbook, that is on page 337, paragraph 2, evolution is the awakening of the soul to a recognition of its unity with the whole. Material evolution is an effect, not a cause. This reverses the popular belief declaring that evolution is the result of intelligence, rather than intelligence being the result of evolution. And this is what Raymond Anderson has to say. In recent years, some have unsubscribed from this magazine, claiming that it is, quote, too woke, unquote. Says, did you know that? At its core, this is one of many areas where we are practicing spiritual bypass, metaphysical malpractice, and metaphysical malfeasance. All right, let's find out what he's talking about. Then he explains where the word woke came from. The term woke originated within African American culture in response to the caste system and racism. Staying woke and being woke warned us to be vigilant, aware, and on guard. Recently, woke has been subverted to mean something to be avoided, something to be scorned, even within the New Thought community. Really. We say, quote, thoughts are things. We proclaim the power of our words by teaching such things as affirmations, affirmative prayer, and spiritual mind treatment. And yet, when it comes to sacred activism, to being woke, we conveniently forget that the very title of Siddhartha Gautama Buddha means awakened one, or as some scholars indicate, something that is more a verb than a noun. Both awakening and enlightenment can be synonymous with being woke, and yet many vilify the word and relegate it to a particular kind of political thought. We claim to be aspiring to attain Christ consciousness and somehow think that this is different from being woke, when in reality, it has to be the very embodiment of it. Right now, reclaim the word for what it offers you. An invitation to revel in your divinity as one who is aware, awake, and awash in the living cause of liberating truth. Actually, I did know before I read this that the word woke came from within the African American community, and then it got flipped around. And I guess you could translate it as being too liberal, being way out on the liberal end of the spectrum. So What do I take from this message? I'm 100% sure right now what I get from this. I get from the fact that it's educating us to the fact that woke originally was a fairly reasonable term, and it just simply meant being aware to what's going on around you and being aware of the fact that things were not equal in the world of what was supposed to be equality, and just to be vigilant. So I guess it is kind of disappointing that it's been relegated just simply to mean, in essence, hey, somebody whose views I don't agree with and they're out there and they're wrong and we shouldn't listen to them. We should just bury them. So I think what this says to me is that we need to be aware of what we're thinking and what we're doing. And it also reminds me that everybody has a point of view. And I don't have to agree with their points of view, but I don't have to vilify them either. So when I see the word woke used out, and especially in the political arena, I see it being used as a derogatory term for somebody whose views are supposedly way out in the left field and should be vilified at worst and ignored at best. So that's what I take from it. What I've learned from today is that I did a mediation this afternoon, and I'm not at liberty to give details about the mediation because I am bound by secrecy. I'm not allowed to disclose it. Neither is anybody else involved in it. But what I've learned is that sometimes when people's views are diametrically opposed, nothing that you could say to either party is going to convince them to change their minds. And that in this case, the only arbiter of what was going on there is going to be the judge when these two people go before a judge, and the judge is going to make the decision about how they move forward with their lives and what happens, to their offspring. So I'm going to read out the affirmation. It's not an affirmation, really. It's a series of statements. I, like the Buddha, am ever awakening. That's a good one. I, like the Buddha, am ever awakening. With each breath, awakening. With each thought, awakening. With each interaction, awakening. I am forever vigilantly awakening to my divine nature. In other words, whatever I'm doing in life, I try and take a step back and look at it not through the eyes of my ego, but through the eyes of, for want of a better expression, my higher self. While allowing other people to have their viewpoints, I honor my own viewpoints, and I'm at one and I'm ease with my own viewpoints. That's what I get out of this. Maybe I'm missing the point here, or maybe after I get off here, I'll say, oh, I know what it should have been. But anyway, so bottom line is this. Live your life in accordance with your principles. Live up to your principles. If you are a Christian, then live up to the teachings of Jesus of Nazareth. If you are a Buddhist, then follow the teachings of the Buddha. If you're a Muslim, follow the dictates of Muhammad and what the Quran says, and the Bible in the case of Christians and Jews, and also to some extent Muslims. So, in other words, be true to yourself. That's what I'm thinking of. This is the famous quote from Shakespeare: "To thine own self be true. To thine own self be true." Honor your own beliefs. Be open to consider what other people tell you, but be honorable to your own beliefs. That's it. That's what I get out of it. To thine own self be true. Anyway, if you have any comments, I say in the big long write up there, you can either post them on the social media platform in which you saw this, Or you can just text me at 832-271-0717. 832-271-0717. Let me know what you think of the green screen. Do you think I should be using a virtual background again? Is this okay as it is? So, or what do you like about our readings? What comments do you have about today's reading? What did I miss? It's all good and it's all God. And part of that will be Reverend Lisa coming tomorrow morning at 9:15. And until then, namaste.